So I want to do a brief exercise to help you just experience some of the things that Eric Berne experienced when he first began to work with folks. And it's a simple exercise of simply saying your name in 3 different ways. It involves introducing yourself, first of all, as though you were one of your parents, introducing yourself as at maybe 8 years of age. For example, my mother would say, "This is my son, Van Jr." And then secondly, to introduce yourself the way you would in current business situations. For example, I would say, "Hello, my name is Van Joins. I'm president of the Southeast Institute." And then third, to say your name as though you were about 8 years old yourself, introducing yourself to a group of your friends. I might say, "Hi, I'm Van." And as you do that, just notice what you feel inside. And for those of you who are observing, notice differences in facial expressions, tone of voice, mannerisms, gestures, and so on, and see what you can discover.
This is Henry, and I call him Bud. I'm so proud of him. He's a good boy, and he loves to play football.
Good. Thank you.
So this is totally appropriate as the adult. So my name is Henry Lucas. I'm owner of Lucas Counseling and Consulting. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and I published my first book, Maximized, an approach to get the most from your life. So there's a free ebook right now on Amazon, and you can also purchase it.
I call them the right person.
So, yeah, and I'm honored to be here. I'm feeling really childlike right now. I got to wake up and walk around in my room this morning with no shirt on, and I got to listen to some music in the hotel room, and I went for a walk earlier. I've never been to Raleigh, and it was really cool this morning watching the sun and the people out front.
So if this were a group of new friends, how would you introduce yourself to them?
My name is Henry.
Good. Very nice.
I am glad to be here.
Good. Great. Okay, thank you.
Can you start off as a parent to the child?
Yeah, one of your parents introducing you to a group of people.
This is my son, Denny. He's a good boy. He's a little shy, though.
Okay, good.
Okay, next one is,
Current business situations.
hello, I'm Dennis Nino, and I'm excited to be here, and I'm going to give it my very best, and I think I understand the concerns, and I'm going to do all I can to accomplish what we're here for.
Good. Okay. And then if you were about 8, how would you introduce yourself to a group of potential new friends?
Hi, I'm Denny. I like you guys. I'm looking forward to hanging out.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
This is my son, Christopher. The watchwords around the house is, "Where's Chris?" He's also deeply involved already in piano, and a student of classical piano. I'm Christopher Zimmerman, ex-rocket scientist and ex-computer system engineer. I walked away from both of those fields because I really couldn't stand the falseness and the corruption. And I've happened to, a couple of years ago, walk into transactional analysis, and I'm a very enthusiastic student of transactional analysis.
Good. And if you were about 8, how would you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm really just about interested in just about anything I can see and do. I'm always getting into things, and always learning.
Good.
I am poor in English, but I'll try. My mother introduced me. She was very exciting girl and have some interested in everything and behavior quickly. And she is careless. And my father said, he thinks if this girl would be a boy. And now I am Yuri, and very exciting now. Thank you.
My name is Yuko Shiroma from Japan. I can't understand English, but I try attend this. I'm a challenger. Okay.
Good. Thank you. Okay, I think that's probably enough for you to get a sense of what we wanted to demonstrate. For those of you who did the exercise, did you feel differently internally as you said your name in those different ways? What are some of the differences that you experienced?
I realized that I present, as an adult, that I bring in a lot of child, and I think it's important to bring a lot of adult in there.
Yeah,
So that was a nice experience.
good. How about other folks? Henry?
Yeah, knowing what my personality adaptation is, that I'm usually, cut off from my parent ego state, so it's usually difficult for me to access that, and it's very easy for me to access my child ego state. So,
Right.
But I just noticed, my work in my life lately has been around my adult and really accessing that and embracing it, and it felt good.
Good.
It felt natural.
Yeah, that's great. For those of you who are observing, did you see differences in facial expressions, tones of voice, mannerisms, gestures, those kinds of things? Yeah. So these are the kinds of things that Eric Berne began to notice as he worked with people. And he tells a story about an attorney who came into his office complaining about the anxiety he would feel when he was up in front of a courtroom defending a case. He said he would be looking and acting and sounding like a very self-assured, competent lawyer, but inside he would be feeling like a scared little kid. And he said that really hit home to him one day when he was out at this dude ranch, and he saw this little boy dressed up in a cowboy suit helping one of the hired hands feed some hay to the horses. And at one point, the hired hand turned to the little boy and said, "Way to go, cowpoke." And the little boy looked up and said, "I'm not really a cowpoke, I'm just an 8-year-old little boy." And he said that really hit him because that's exactly the way he felt in the courtroom. And sure enough, as Berne worked with this guy, he could see the 8-year-old anxious little boy at times. At other times, he could see the very competent, self-assured adult lawyer. And as he continued to work with him, he began to see another part that looked adult, but actually came from a more archaic source. And he realized it really came from the guy's parents. So the model he came up with was these 3 different personality states or ego states within the individual, parent, adult, and child. And as he continued to work with people, he realized everybody has those. These are universal.
There are 4 ways that the theory talks about diagnosing ego states. And the first one is a behavioral diagnosis, which is looking at how I am behaving. So in the exercise, initially, we were inviting the person to introduce themselves in a certain way and asking you to observe the difference in their behavior, their observable behavior as they were doing that. The second one would be a social or operational diagnosis, and I think about that in terms of noticing in transaction, in social communication, how am I seeing myself and how is the other person responding to me? So the social level. So if I'm saying, "What time is it?" and someone is saying, "Why are you asking me that?" My hunch is I'm in my critical parent ego state, even though I might not have been aware of that, but I'm aware of it as I notice the response. So when I say something and you respond to me, I can notice what impact. We talk about intent and impact in our model. what impact am I having, is a social level diagnosis. So diagnosis. Then the historical diagnosis is, how is my behavior reminiscent of the behavior of my parent figures and or other adults in my life?
Or myself as a child.
Or myself as a child, yeah. And then the fourth one, phenomenological or existential, is how am I experiencing myself? How in this, as I watch myself in this moment. So I'm noticing, as I'm sitting here talking with you, I'm aware of my thinking being most prominent right at this moment, my adult ego state.